Okay, speaking of
No.
quarterbacks, we just spoke to Kyle Shanahan. He had his weekly conference call, and he was asked, what's going to be the determination when you bring Brock Purdy back? He said, well, we want to see that he's Brock again. He also said yesterday after the game that there's no guarantee he makes a full recovery this season. Do you think the Niners should bring him back at all this year?
There was one other thing he said that we need to include, that bringing back Brock is not relevant or related to how Mac Jones played. Didn't he say
that was the key one?
Didn't he say they're unrelated?
He was asked straight, like point blank. Does this happen? The better Mac Jones play, does that give you more freedom to leave Brock out? And he was like, oh, absolutely not. They're not related. But this is Brock's team.
Yeah. He said they're not this is Brock's team. They're not related. So that's the key quote.
Yes.
That's the one we need to unpack. They're not related. Now, look, I've attended hundreds,
like me and you aren't related.
Right. I've attended thousands of news conferences, right? And I know these coaches and managers, they're up there. They feel like they could say anything they want, and they know people will be polite to them. And they won't say, Kyle, that sounds like a lot of bullshit. No one is going to sit in a media conference like that and say it.
No one's going to argue with him. He can say that.
No, he could say it. But to me, it sounds like a lot of bullshit, Iggy. Let me and then we'll get to what it means, Brock being Brock. But let's do it one at a time. Let's say Mac continues to play really well. Let's say he beats the Rams. Let's say he's really doing well. And they come to a practice one day and Brock says, I feel like I'm Brock again. Watch me. Do you think Shanahan's going to go in and say, well, Brock's Brock? Mac, you've got 10 wins or whatever. You're out.
Yeah.
No way. He would be insane to do that. He doesn't owe allegiance to Brock. He owes allegiance to the team. Why would you pull out a guy who's excellent and doing well because the other guy says he's ready, or you determine the other guy's ready? Now, if Mac falters, that's fair enough. But if he's playing the way Iggy, his record is 5-2, right?
Yep.
Would you say that's a hell of a record?
I would say that's a hell of a record, especially considering Brock was 6-9 last year and 1-1 this year. It's not like he's necessarily the savior right now. What Mac is doing is necessary. They need him.
Mac is the savior.
He's the savior.
He's the savior.
Yeah.
They would have been on their tush, Iggy.
Yeah.
But they had Mac. Good for Kyle. They had Mac. He's the savior. So we're going to say, we're getting rid of the savior. We're going to go back to the other one because he says he's feeling well now. Iggy, I don't believe it.
I got a point to make. So he says they're not related, and we don't believe him. If the Niners were handling Brock Purdy's recovery in a way that was completely independent of the results on the field, we're not going to overreact and bring him back out if we need him because it's all about his future and his recovery. I think they would have put him on IR by now. He got hurt a second time. They didn't put him on IR. He's been out 5 games. He's probably going to miss another. He could miss another one this week. That'd be 6. You put him on IR. You can bring him back after 4. They didn't do that. And to me, why didn't they put him on IR? Well, you could interpret it as, well, if, Mac sucks, we can kind of go back to you. Or if he plays well, we can keep you out. It's almost like they're in a week-to-week wait-and-see situation that they're just not admitting to.
It feels like it, right?
It feels like it.
It certainly feels like
on
it.
IR. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we get to the other thing. When he says, this is a paraphrase, but I'm pretty close, Iggy. When Brock is Brock again, he'll play. Okay. He's trying to set a standard, the Brock standard. Now, you could say a standard is when he could run a 40 and 4.5, when he can throw the ball 50 yards without pain, when he can read the field. Those are standards. When Brock is Brock again is such a vague standard, it means whatever you want it to mean. it could mean we'll bring him back when Mac sucks, because then we'll say he's Brock again,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or
Mm-hmm.
it could mean we don't want him to play any more this season, and because he won't be Brock this season. He'll be 99.9% Brock, but he won't be Brock. So
Yeah,
he set up a standard that's a non-standard, which I believe has everything to do with how Mac is playing.
I completely agree. So he's saying when Brock is Brock again. Well, that's not objective. It's up to the 49ers to tell us when he's Brock again. And again, last night after the game, he said, Kyle Shanahan, that there's really no guarantee that Brock makes a full recovery this season, that this is something that could be bothering him all year. And the question is, will it stop, bother him less in the upcoming weeks to the point where he can play on it? Sounds like there's a possibility he won't ever be Brock again this season, according to whatever the Niners' vague standard is.
Right.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Iggy. Is Mac Jones a good quarterback?
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Is he an elite quarterback? No. Maybe he'll become one day. I mean, Sam Darnold keeps improving, but right now he went from being a complete bust to being an absolute good starting quarterback. Yes. And the thing about Mac is you don't talk about like, well, when Mac's Mac, he's good. No, if he's on the field, he's good.
Okay. Tougher question. Is Purdy, when he's Purdy, we're not talking about, is Purdy when he's Purdy better than Mac Jones?
Theoretically, yes, because he can run around and that mobility is huge, and Mac can't do that. But I feel like with Purdy, we saw over time the interceptions increase and the injuries increase because he held the ball longer. So he has a better skill set than Mac Jones, but it wasn't necessarily leading to better results over time. Mac Jones is more limited, but he's winning. He's not turning the ball over. He's not scrambling. He's not holding the ball a long time. So Brock should be better than Mac, but Mac happens to be playing better than Brock, at least this year. Is that a bad answer?
I disagree with it.
Okay.
When you say that Brock has a better skill set, I disagree. And I'll tell you why. I think you mean that he has a component to his game where he can run a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, he's not Lamar Jackson, but he can run a little bit.
Yeah.
He runs a little bit because the offensive line can't protect him and he holds the ball longer than he used to. So he has to run for his life.
And he doesn't always necessarily see the whole field so well from the pocket because he's a little shorter.
Right. I think if you take away his running, which is not the key part of his game, I think Mac's a better quarterback. If you put them both in the pocket, I think Mac's a better quarterback.
I agree with that. I think the only thing Brock does better than Mac is move. And Brock moves a lot better than Mac. But everything else Mac does at least a little bit better than Brock. See the field, throw with anticipation, throw with accuracy, throw with arm strength, protect the football. Just like all the throwing things from the pocket. Brock is very good at throwing on the run. Once you get outside the pocket, Brock's better. But inside the pocket, Mac is just better.
Yeah, and Mac basically is inside the pocket. He's not a guy who's running around, but he doesn't get sacked a lot.
No, he doesn't, because he doesn't hold on to the ball very long.
Right. So what Purdy makes up with mobility, Mac doesn't have mobility, but he gets rid of the ball so quick that he's not one of these guys who's always getting, like Matt Ryan was always getting sacked. He's not always getting sacked. This is going to sound weird, and it may be very unfair to Purdy and the 49ers. I like Mac Jones better.
I think I do as well. And I think there's something about Mac. I'm not saying he's tougher than Brock, but the durability thing. I mean, a starting quarterback should be on the field every week, no matter what, even if you're 70 or 60% healthy. I mean, I grew up with Brett Favre. He never missed a game. And this whole thing of like, well, he'll play when he's himself. That doesn't sound like a starting quarterback or a franchise quarterback or a guy making $53 million a year. Mac will start if he's living, if he's breathing. He'll be on the field. If he doesn't have a torn ACL, he'll be on the field, limping around, grimacing, making it work somehow. That's the job.
I love what you're saying. In other words, you don't have to be 100% to be yourself. You could be 65% to be yourself. You get out there. And what they're doing is, it almost seems, and again, this is my opinion, that they're babying Brock, but they're not babying Mac because you don't have to.
That's right. That's a big difference. I mean, if Brock Purdy needs to be 100% healthy to be effective in the NFL, what does that make him? A franchise quarterback? Who's ever 100% healthy?
And it's just like a pitcher, Iggy. You think in the last game of the World Series, Yamamoto was 100%. He had pitched the day before. And he didn't say, I have to be Yamamoto. He came in and won.
And like you said, like he's mobile, but he's not Lamar Jackson. I mean, he scrambles around a little bit. He's not even Jeff Garcia. So
no way.
You take that part of his game away and force him to stay in the pocket, and he's not good. I mean, I know a lot of quarterbacks who can run around, but if they, like Patrick Mahomes, he can run around, but if he had a sprained ankle, he could stand in one spot and kick your ass. I don't know, but in fact, Brock can't do that.
No, but Mac might be able to do that and has been doing that. So I guess we're actually saying something a little radical today, Iggy, and it's based on the news that came out today, that in Kyle's little presser, that we're saying no matter Brock's health, we prefer Mac right now.
Yes.
That's how I feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe someday in the future, when Brock is Brock again, whatever that means, he'll be better than Mac Jones. But I don't know when that day is going to come. It may never come, and it may not last that long. The whole thing is Mac can do this whether he's 50%, 100%. Brock has less wiggle room.
Iggy, I'm not sure that 100% Brock is better than Mac.
Yeah. Yeah. Because 100% Brock, what does he do that Mac can't do? Scramble around, hold the ball. Does that always lead to good things, or does it lead to bad things some of the time?
When he scrambles around, he seems to get hurt.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
And Mac gets hurt, but he keeps playing, right? His knee hurts, the other knee hurts. He's got this, he's got that. But his attitude is, this is my shot. I'm taking it. This is my shot.
Yeah, and the Niners don't need Mac Jones to be Josh Allen. They just need him to be healthy. They went to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. He's clearly better than Jimmy Garoppolo. He might be better than Brock Purdy. But for as good as Brock Purdy is, it doesn't matter because he's hurt. If Mac can just stay on the field, he's the savior, like you said.
Iggy, how many games this season has Brock Purdy missed?
Two. Has he missed? 7.
Missed 7. Well, that's a lot of games.
He missed what? 2 of their final games last year. I mean, he's missed a lot of games over the last year.
And Iggy, more and more he throws picks.
Yeah. Now, I think this was a subtopic of this one we wanted to talk about. I don't have the paper in front of me, but the contract.
Oh, I want to get into that.
Yeah. So it's always the subtopic. All right, well, if Mac is better than Brock, as we feel, then what does that say about this contract that the 49ers gave to Brock this year?
Okay. 2 thoughts. As we said before they gave the contract, they should never have given him that contract. They should have made it an open competition. But I understand they wanted stability. They believed in this kid, blah, blah, blah. As far as giving him, what is it, $50 million a year, Iggy?
53.
It's the 49ers' money. They can do whatever they want with it. The only thing they can't do, in my opinion, is to say, we got to play Brock more than Mac because we're paying him more. The salary to me is irrelevant. You play the best guy and you play the healthy guy. Right now, the healthy guy is Mac and the best guy is Mac. Money aside, if they want to pay this guy $53 million to stand on the side and look like a hero, that's their business. I can't criticize them for that. They got to play the right guy, and they're doing it. They're playing the right guy.
Yeah, and they did this 3 years ago. They traded all those picks for Trey Lance. They gave him a shot. He wasn't the right guy, so they went back to Jimmy. Then they went to Brock, and it's like, well, okay, let's just pretend we traded all those picks for Brock. Let's just pretend we didn't do that. And that was fine with them. They have to do the same. Let's just pretend you didn't pay Brock Purdy because right now you got Mac Jones playing the way you wish Brock Purdy would play.
Absolutely. And Iggy, I want to praise Shanahan. He saw something in Mac Jones that the rest of the league didn't see. I don't think he's good at developing quarterbacks, but I think he's good at spotting quarterbacks. Bill Walsh could do both. I don't think Kyle can, but he spotted Darnold when the league had given up on him and Mac when the league had given up on him. So props to Kyle for that. These guys were dead in the water, Riggy, these guys.
Yeah. And it's like he missed on Lance. Maybe he realized, look, he shouldn't be drafting and quote unquote developing young quarterbacks. What he can do is find the quarterbacks that other teams failed to develop and would flourish on his team and his system. That wasn't Lance. Lance needed development, but a guy like Mac Jones didn't need development. He just needed a system. He needed some playmakers around him, and Kyle Shanahan recognized that.
And Iggy, they brought that kid in, your friend that used to play Little League with, Lombardi. They brought him from the Patriots because he had worked with Mac. So that's smart. I'm not really that good at developing quarterbacks, but you worked with him. Let's bring you over here with him.
Yeah. And I know it's not our money, but this isn't like baseball. There's a salary cap. And if you give a contract like this to Brock, it affects what you can give to other players, and it affects your chances of winning the Super Bowl. Can they win a Super Bowl spending this much on this one player? In the future, if it doesn't work out with Brock and they get rid of his contract or restructure it or move him eventually, I think what Kyle could learn is that he's 2 for 2 now. He got it right with Darnold. He got it right with Jones. He doesn't necessarily have to spend $1 bajillion on quarterbacks to feel secure at that position. He can maybe cycle through them every few years because he can find former top 10 picks, former first round picks who are available on the scrap heap and can be very effective on his team.
I agree with that. And I'm going to say something actually a little radical. Mac Jones, he was a first-round pick, Iggy?
Yes.
And we know that Purdy was the last pick. And there's tremendous romance in that. You know, he's like King Arthur getting Excalibur, right? There's a tremendous romance in that. But there's probably a reason that Mac was a first-round choice and this kid almost didn't get drafted.
You know who Brock Purdy is? He's Tom Hanks in Big.
I love it.
Where did you get that superpower from? And he's like doing like the little dance at that's Brock. But he's come back down to earth. There was another movie when I was a kid you probably don't remember called Rookie of the Year. Roger Rosengarten. He's this little kid, and all of a sudden he breaks his arm and he can throw 100 miles an hour. That's Brock Purdy.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, they gave the contract out because they felt this is just the cost of doing business in the NFL. This is what you eventually have to do. It's a good problem to have. Let's do it. One, you didn't really know about Brock. He was getting hurt last year. The stuff continued. It would have been nice to just have some more time and some more evidence to see how it goes. And two, you got the Kyle Shanahan factor. As long as you're in business with Kyle, he does some things very well. And this is one of the best things he does. Find a quarterback who is not in demand, who isn't going to get a ton of money, and make him one of the more productive, efficient quarterbacks in football. He's done it a few times.
Yeah.
They could have kept Sam Darnold.
Yes. And here's the thing. Now, he blew up in the playoffs, Darnold, last season. But I watched the first half of the Seattle game last night. Holy mackerel, Iggy. He was on fire.
Yeah. And we talk about limitations and stuff. He has far fewer than really either Mac or Brock. I mean, he's big. He's got a good arm. He can run. He's a good player. Now, he did flop in his first ever postseason game. A lot of quarterbacks have. See what he does in the second one. It's going to go.
Lamar Jackson always does.
Always does. Yeah. Keep giving him MVPs.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we praised Kyle. I feel good about that.